But first, I'm going to do the opening prayer, and then I will turn it over to Jen Zhao to introduce our guest speakers. Let us pray. O Lord, our heavenly Father, whose blessed Son came not to be ministered unto, but to minister. Bless, we beseech thee, all who, following in his steps, give themselves to the service of others, that with wisdom, patience, and courage, they may minister in his name to the suffering, the friendless, and the needy, for the love of him who laid down his life for us, the same thy Son, our Savior Jesus Christ, who liveth and reigneth with thee and the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Jen?
All right, Stacy, thanks a lot. Thanks for having us, everybody. This is, I'm honored to have RefugeeNet. I am the outreach chair, and then we have Blair Schmel, who is the liaison between RefugeeNet and the cathedral. We have our guest speaker, Joseph, here from RefugeeNet representing, and they are going to be doing the presentation. So I'm now going to turn it over to Blair.
This morning we are competing with, I think, a very worthwhile event out on the courtyard with Jeff Martinhoff leaving, and so hopefully people will come in as we go. I've been honored to be able to work with RefugeeNet now at 2 churches. I used to do it up at Trinity and Escondido, and now when I came here, I've expanded that role, and I'm working as the liaison between St. Paul's and RefugeeNet. Until recently, most of my work has been done with Katherine Bom, who's now serving as the Interim Executive Director at RefugeeNet, in helping them get kids prepared to go up to Camp Stevens in the summertime. I go out and buy all the goodies that they need to make sure that they've got what they need. Oh, thank you. What they need in order to be like the rest of the kids up there. I'm fine.
Hey, Blair,
yeah,
excuse me, can you turn around and face us?
I was
Thanks.
facing them instead.
I know,
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
I don't like to turn my back.
I'm sorry, you could do
I'll go
sideways.
this way. You get this way. Okay, I'll turn this way. And so as Katherine was supposed to be here today, but she had a family interruption of her being able to come, but we're very honored to have Joseph Ikiochi, who I think has a very, very interesting story to tell us. Joseph has been involved at RefugeeNet now for several months. He himself is a refugee who has been over here in the States for quite a while and has been greatly helped by the refugee programs. So he has a very good story to tell, and then we'll also talk to him about some of the programs at RefugeeNet and some of the things that we might be able to do to help them. So Joseph, you're on.
So again, as Blake introduced me, my name is Joseph, and I work with the RefugeeNet. I'm originally from Democratic Republic of Congo. My family moved in refugee camp like 1996 for persecution of war. So we were able to live in a refugee camp for 15 years before we made our transition to come to the US. So it took us 15 years for us to come here. So my family arrived in the US was in 2012. And yeah, once I got here, I started learning English. I was 17. And then I went to high school and I graduated. So I'm taking some class at community college, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, just take it. Great, thank you. Thank you. Why don't you tell us just a bit about your work at RefugeeNet and the work that RefugeeNet does in general?
So yeah, so actually I was hired as a case managers. I work with the refugees in Syriite, and most of these people do not speak English. And I think I remember like when I came to the US in 2012, myself and my family, we didn't speak English. I remember we stay home like for like 3 days because we arrived in the US, it was like on Fridays, and those refugee agency worked to Monday, but they left us with food to eat. It was kind of Friday night, and we were able to eat on Friday night. And it took us like to Monday in order to receive other food. So we stayed like for two days without eating, like that weekend, because we starved uh, with with um, with food. We were looking for food, but we didn't speak English. So I'm glad I'm working as a case manager. I'm working with the refugee family. I'm working with the youth and the parent as well. Um, Actually, RefugeeNet run a variety of programs. At the RefugeeNet, there is a touring programs, and there is a program for the summer. They have a Camp Stephen. They also run a program called food distributions, where like they give food to refugees and also to homeless. And there is another new program just a start there. They call Mama Africa, which is a great program because a lot of refugee women come to the US. They don't have working skills, so they want to like start from scratch, and they need to build resumes. So this is a great opportunity for them. Mama Africa, where they go and they learn how to make the food, and they get like a food handling certificate, and they will be working in the kitchen, which is a great skill for them because some of the refugee parents, they have a dreams of entrepreneurship. So with getting that experiences from RefugeeNet is great because it's giving them the hope of making the dream to come true. Um, and also there is also youth too as well who does that to build the resumes as well. And on my case management side, pretty much what I do is I I help people to find job, to do job applications, youth, and also the elders. Some of them, they don't know how to create like resumes, and I will help them to set up all those small stuff, such like putting resume together, helping them with a job application, helping them to understand the skill that they need to inquire for the job. I also help a lot of people to translate because some of them people do not understand English, which is most of them, they don't understand English. So they will have like appointment to the hospital to see a specialist, and that they want to be heard. They want to explain what they are feeling, and I will inquire that. I also help them out. I also help them, and kind of again, it's like an advocacy part. I help them with social services, such like applying benefit at the welfare. Some of the people who lost jobs during a pandemics, they don't have jobs. Um, those people sometimes they didn't know like if they go to welfare, the office is closed, and they are trying to apply for benefits so they can feed the family or they can pay the rent. So I did work a lot with like helping them set it up and getting those benefit, sending those applications. I did also help most of them too as to apply um, rent assistance because some of the refugee family were running out money and didn't have money to help them to pay for the house, and I was able to facilitate that, like getting them to apply rent assistance with the city of San Diego. So, and also I help people to apply an unemployment benefit for those who was not able to get the job. And also like a lot of people don't know how to use internet, especially the old ones. I mean, it's a big challenge, and these people need the help. They sometimes need to certify, like on employment, like you have to certify every 2 weeks or every like month. These people don't know how to certify. These people don't know how to open the email. I will help them to facilitate that. And I will also like helping them like going online and certify, make sure the benefit is consistent. So that's part of what I do. I don't know.
That's Joseph.
Yes.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak 4 languages.
And what are they?
Yes, I speak Swahili, I speak Kibembe, I speak French, and I also speak English.
And you speak English at least as well as I do, so you're doing a very good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think everybody can see this is just some of the programs that that RefugeeNet does. If anyone was involved with the gala that was done earlier this year, that they do this every year, and this year it was online, it was virtual, and it was great fun, and you could actually order food from Mama Africa and have it delivered to your house. I live up in Scripps Ranch and had it delivered right to my home, and the food was delicious, and it's very, very good program. They actually, as Joseph said, the women learn how to work in a commercial kitchen. They make outstanding food that are then used for parties or for individual people to have at their homes. And they're looking to expand that program. Another couple of things that they do in the summertime for kids, as Joseph said, Camp Stevens is a big part of it. Another thing they're doing now is a swimming program for the kids and giving them opportunity to go swimming. And we've purchased new swimming suits for the kids and beach bags and sunscreen and all the things that they need for that. And we'll be purchasing the materials for Camp Stevens. Where does the money come from for Camp Stevens? Do you know, Joseph, or is that a Katherine thing? I mean, not for Camp Stevens, but for RefugeeNet in general.
I think that's a more Katherine.
Okay, we'll get more information on that from Katherine. I know that some money, I believe, comes from the diocese, but I think much of it comes from the big fundraiser they do every year, and which is a wonderful gala event. I went to it, I guess it was year before last, before the lockdown, and it was at a really very, very nice restaurant. There were hundreds of people there, and I'm sure that they raised a lot of money with their auction, and it was just a wonderful event. Do you know if there are places where people can donate things that would help the refugees, like if they have furniture or anything like that? Do you know if that is available? Is there a place we can donate stuff like that?
Yes, part of our food distributions on Thursdays, that's where most of refugees usually came at St. Luke's. That's where the food distribution happen. And also our RefugeeNet is usually take those donations and they put in the RefugeeNet store. So they have a store at St. Luke's where you can, if you have something that you want to donate, you just let Katherine know, and then after Katherine know, and then we will go ahead and send it in our community. So there is people who need it. So yeah.
Okay, so I'll talk to Katherine and get the details on that and circulate that with the newsletter here at St. Paul's, and maybe we can even get something in the diocesan newsletter, because I'm not sure that that's really well known around the diocese, that RefugeeNet is a good target place to take things like that. As I talk to people around the diocese, I often get asked, what can we do to help? And I've had a conversation, Jen and I had a meeting with Katherine recently, And there are two primary areas that they need help. And I'd like to discuss those here because there may be people at St. Paul's that could help with this. The first is something that you've already talked a bit about, and that is helping the men primarily, but more than just the men, to get jobs. There are certain men who have very good educations in their home countries, or even some of them have some education here, that have a hard time translating that into jobs here, primarily because of language skills, inability to adequately use the resources and know how jobs are obtained here. One example of someone who was very successful with it, and maybe you can help me, I can't remember his name, but there was one young man who came over as a refugee, learned English, graduated from high school here, got into UCSD with an engineering degree, and now is working alongside actually my daughter-in-law at Dexcom, and is working as an engineer there. Or somebody else that I would like to actually bring in. So that's an example of a great success with this. One of the things that we're also doing is I got Katherine to send me copies of resumes, and I shared them with Phil Blair, who runs the Manpower organization here in San Diego. He's reviewed them and he says, these resumes just need a lot of work. And I'm wondering who can people from St. Paul's talk to if they would like to help with that? Sit down with some of these men and help them to go through their resumes and make them into something that's more up to standard for the United States. Can you comment on that?
Hey, Blair, this is Jen.
Yep.
I think what we should do with that question is that you and I should be the go-to people, and we'll set something up, and then we'll work with Katherine so that the cathedral can just have one point of contact.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. What I really want to get out there though is that there are lots of opportunities to help for people at St. Luke's to help and go through either me or through Jen. Another one is with helping kids to get into a college. And they sometimes need some help with their application processes on getting into college once they've graduated from high school, be it to a local community college or to a four-year college, which is another thing that that could be done to help there. What other kinds of places within RefugeeNet do you think that people here might be able to help with?
Are you asking me that question?
I'm asking you that question, Joseph.
Okay, good. Appreciate it. No, like actually, I was trying to cite 2 points. This is a very, very important point. On the touring side, part of success that bring us here with our parent is our parents have a high dream in us. They want us to be educated. They want us to get degrees, and also want us to have a good life here in the States. Honestly, I think mentorship is a very important. When you meet somebody for the first time, at least if they can mentor you through the process, because it's not easy when you come to your country, you don't have any family member, you don't know anybody here, and all the people that you used to see, you're no longer gonna see them for a very long time. So you're coming to a new place and you don't speak English, and you have to adapt a new culture. Everything is new for you. So is in terms of helping mentorship, helping those people to tutor. I mean, I can say a long relationship tutor, somebody like that student or can get used to, you can get to know them well, so who can support them to the process. Because the thing is, when you look into our family, some of the people like myself, I was the first to graduate from high school. My parents, my mom, my dad, they was not able to graduate from high school. So we don't have those people who Roma, who we can look up to. Those people who you can say if I get off school and I don't understand something to my teacher, I'm gonna go ahead and ask my dad, and he's gonna be able to explain to me that. So all that you have to do on your own, and you have to struggle on your own. And your English language is not it's not high enough, like to compete sometimes, but you have to you have to accept the struggle, and you have to work hard so you can at least achieve what you really want to achieve on. So I will mention that getting mentors, tutoring side is great. It's something very good that will help people to to they can at least see, they have somebody who they can look up through, say like, hey, this guy or graduate from high school, this guy graduate from college, I think I can do it too, he's my mentor. So someone who they can look up to.
Right.
Another thing that I want to highlight is Mama Africa, people ordering food. I think is one of the great program. I was very impressed with them myself, because people don't get to know our culture. So, and through Mama Africa, you kind getting introduced to an African culture. It's not just like one country, but it's in multiple countries. There is a Congolese menu, there is a Tanzania menu, there is a Burundi menu. So you get to know those people by the food. And in the another side, I will say there is this great cultures that African we have of welcoming people. So you get to know more about those people through the food, talking to them, and having a conversation to get to know them better. So and then on the job side, that's very important, because we all need a job, and I would say we all need a job, and we all need a skill in order to inquire those skills so we can get a great jobs. I think helping refugee, mentoring them through the resume process, and helping them to find jobs, or like helping them to get skills, because there is people sometimes, I say myself, in the past I tried to apply a couple of jobs, and they deny me because I didn't have any experiences of like, oh, we haven't seen on your resumes you work with the Excel before, or like Microsoft PowerPoint, or Google Sheet, and but how do you expect someone to get experiences if you haven't tried that person? Is some of the challenges that a lot of refugees have to face, and it's a reality. But also, like, if there is like people who have if they have connections where they can pull that person and they can get a train and they can learn those skills, I think that's a very important, and that will help a lot of refugee kids and a lot of immigrants in our community to use their skill, to use their hard working, so they can also provide to those company or those organizations.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody here have any questions for Joseph?
I do. Joseph, you said you were taking classes at community college. Could you tell me what kinds of classes and what you're interested in studying or becoming?
Yes. So I am studying. I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm taking business classes. So I took I took my chemistry classes already. I'm taking math classes. That's what I'm focusing on right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anyone else? So how many, oh. Did you hear the question? She asked, how many children are you going to be sending to Camp Stevens this year?
Camp Stevens will have they have a number.
I think it's 20.
20, yeah, 20 kids, yeah.
Yeah, usually we would send about 35 kids. But because of COVID restrictions and things like that, they've limited us to 20 this year. We always need funds for that. And the funds for the Camp Stevens kids should go to Camp Stevens, to Kathy Wilder up there with, and you know, if you send a check or you send, however you send it, note that this is specifically for the RefugeeNet fund. Because that's one of the challenges that we have every year, is making sure we have enough funds to pay for that. And the funds up at Camp Stevens were definitely hurt by the pandemic last year. That's how I got into this. I was on the board at Camp Stevens for many, many years and decided to be this liaison. But send any donations you can to Kathy Wilder, the executive director up there, with a note that is for RefugeeNet kids. Very, very good question.
Hey, Blair, it's
Yep.
Jen. I would
Yep.
like to have him expand, or maybe you expand on what happens at Camp Stevens for the kids, and are the kids chosen to go, or does everybody that is at through RefugeeNet gets to attend?
Can you take that, Joseph? Are you familiar with that, or you want me to take it?
No, yeah, just take it.
Okay. Yeah, Joseph only started a few months ago, so he hasn't been through one of the cycles, especially since last year we couldn't send kids up there. But they just plug into the regular sessions up there, which if you've never been to Camp Stevens, it is an absolute treasure of our diocese. It's up just above Julian. I think my wife has gone now to her church service, but she was on the board for a long time. I think it's like 200 plus acres up there, and they do programs, everything from swimming to crafts, to sing-alongs. One of the great things about Camp Stevens is it is an Episcopal church camp that is technically it's owned by the Diocese of Los Angeles, but co-run between Los Angeles and San Diego Diocese. And it is just an incredible example of stewardship of the earth. And that's what's taught. It's not a Bible camp. It's not a place where kids go up, to read Bible verses and all of that. Everything is done by example on how to treat each other. Leadership, their leadership classes that they give for their camp counselors is nationally known. It's outstanding. And the kids that RefugeeNet sends up are equally put into that. They're asked who would like to go. This year we had to cut it off at 20. I don't actually know how Katherine chose that, but they're all fully supported by the grants. We provide them with everything. We have sleeping bags that we loan them. That actually they're up at Camp Stevens right now, but we give them a duffel bag with everything from a t-shirt to shorts to swimming suits, everything, so that they don't appear to be lacking anything when they're there. I think it would be very bad if we sent kids up there and everybody could tell these are the RefugeeNet kids because they don't have a new swimming suit, they don't have things, and they stand out like a sore thumb. They go up there with everything that any kid needs, and if there's anything that they need that they don't have, we make sure that they get it. It's a great program that they do, and Katherine and actually her daughter also help with the organization of that every year. And Camp Stevens is just a magical place, and if you'd like to go up there, just talk to me and I'll help arrange that. Any other questions from anyone on any aspect of this?
I have a question about the tutoring and mentoring program. Is that a formalized program, or you just call and say you're available if they have someone who needs help, or how does that work?
Is a formal in the program, so it's there. They have a student. Yeah, so you just have to arrange with the Katherine, and then I think you can start from there.
Yeah, and if you need the contact information, just contact either me or Jen. Jen and I work together on this. I kind of report through Jen up into the church, but I'm the one that does most of the work with Katherine. And I'd be more than happy to plug you in with it. And that's a really big thing, as I think all of us who have made it through life and have had any level of success knows how important it is to have a mentor and have other people that support you as you go through your career. These young people that come over, and the adults, don't have that. They're not fortunate enough to have that luxury. And so that's something that we can all do to help with that. Joseph, I know you were, any other questions, Kathy?
For the students, is it elementary school through college?
Yes, they have a different level for students in refugee community. So they do have elementary school, middle school, and the high schoolers.
So you need mentoring for all of those age groups.
Yeah, so it's just depend how comfortable you feel and which age group you want to work with.
Yeah, in the past, RefugeeNet had some different focuses, but about 2 years ago, that was when there were a lot of refugees coming into the United States. And now, as we all know, because of political situations, there have been far fewer allowed in. And the focus then changed to helping with education, both for the adults and the kids. And that's a real strong focus for the organization. If you're interested in helping with that, talk to me and I'll plug you in, or talk to Jen and she can help plug you in with that.
And Jen has put her email and her phone number in the chat for those on Zoom, if you want to contact her.
And Jen, you want to put mine on there too? I can't do it where I am right now, but you feel free to go ahead and put mine. You have my email address as well.
Okay, will do.
And anything for these kids and anything for Camp Stevens. And as always, financial support is important. Mentoring now is extremely important. Helping out with the adults and helping them to get jobs. All those are primary focuses for what RefugeeNet's trying to do. And they do a terrific job at it. I've worked very closely with Katherine, and she is a refugee, or former refugee herself. Where did she come over from? Was it
Egypt?
Egypt? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an amazing force of nature, I think. And she is really dedicated to getting this done. So any other questions that anyone has? I don't think so. I think this is good. Joseph, thank you.
Actually, we do have another question. Could you explain a little bit more about the Thursday food distribution, how that works?
Yeah. So Thursday food distributions is usually happen at St. Luke's. We have some volunteers who usually come in the morning for St. Paul Cathedral. So, but they always need a volunteer. So they will come there and they will have to set up tables, and they will have to put the food together in the bag, and they will make sure those food is being picked up with the people who are need. But we usually have like about 170 family every Thursday that pick up the food.
And didn't that number go way up during the pandemic?
Yeah, the number went way up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a big thing for them. Stacy?
If somebody would like to volunteer, who should they contact to help with the food distribution?
Is Katherine?
Yeah, go through Jen or me and we'll plug the person in with Katherine. It'd be best if we have just Jen and me be the primary point of communication here to Katherine, and then we'll see the best way to get that organized. But that would be another great thing. Do you need more people to help with that food distribution on Thursday?
Sure, we always need people. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And one of the nice things is I think we have a pretty close relationship with St. Luke's, because their priests there, I think, were here before they were there. Colin and his wife were here, and so that will make that transition, or that helping them even better. Yep. Good question. Who gets the food? Is it just for the refugees, or is it for the community?
So actually the food, we have a different populations. People usually come pick up the food. The refugees usually come and pick it up, and also the community too usually come and pick it up, but mostly are those low incomes.
Yeah, but so you don't make them show their refugee card in order to get in the door.
No, there is no such a requirement like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
I have another question. Could you
Yes.
talk a little bit about how children and adults adjust to life in the United States when they first arrive or in the first few months? What is that like for them?
Yeah, so I can actually share on my own experience because I came here when I was 17 and I have a brothers and sisters. Um, I think like there is a lot of frustrations when you arrive because the fact that you don't speak English and you don't know anyone. You just get here, you're new, so you gotta to learn everything from the bottom. So I think on the kid side is a little bit to make that transaction because like kids are so easy to get to know other kids, so they're easy making friend um on that side. And then within like a couple months they start like adapting the place and um they start making friend and they start learning how to speak English. But on the adult side is a very difficult because those adults have to provide for the children and also wanted to make sure they're supporting the children so they can be able to go to school so they don't have to drop. So on that side is a little difficulty. So on the language side, you will see somebody he been in the US for 5 years, but his English skill is very, very little, and there is a lot of frustrations that are going on, especially if you don't understand the language and you are living there, is your home, and you've been there for so long, but you still, any places where you go, you need an interpreter. So there is a lot of challenge into it.
Joseph, where do most of the refugees live? Are there places for them to live when they come here? How does that work?
So so here is how the process works. So when you come as a refugee to the US, they usually such agencies that work with refugees, such as Charity, International Rescue Committee. They have a Jewish Family Foundation, and also they have they call Jewish Family Service. They have African Alliance. So these refugee agencies is usually get a contract to the government. So they give them a grant that will they can facilitate this refugee to adapt life in San Diego. So when a refugee comes, those agencies are responsible to find for them to find for them a house, a place where to live. They're responsible to make sure those people are able to know place to go to buy food and everything, bringing them food, all those small stuff.
I know
Got
that the International Refugee, the IRC committee used
Yes.
to have a community garden. Do they still have a community garden, and are refugees allowed to garden there?
Yes, I think they have a community garden at St. Luke's. That's where they're partnering at right now. So, and I think they have another one at 54, but I don't know if they're still running that one. But I remember they used to have that one.
You also work, just one other question real quick. You also work for another agency as well as RefugeeNet. Tell us a little bit about your other job.
Oh, okay. So I work with a Kupanda.
What is that?
Kupanda means rice, and the Kupanda is a non-profit organization that help refugee with the tutoring. So that's the most focus in, is more focused in the tutoring, helping refugee with the mentoring. So I created this organization and then it was joined with other two people that I work with. So, but I'm only employee through that organization. So, and yeah, so the organization is mostly working with refugee youth. So, and the refugee kids, we do have kids from like elementary school, middle school, and some high school who just barely graduated this year, and some middle school who got promotion. So, is kind mentorship and making sure they are working, that they are getting all the support they need, so they can be able to get those they can be able to get scholarships in the future, so to go to
That's
college.
great.
Yeah.
So, so that's part of your entrepreneurial work, is starting that organization. So
I don't.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I think we're coming up on the end of our time. Does anybody else have any final questions? Stacy, you seem to have one more, at least one
I
more.
do. I have one more question. Could you tell us what program at RefugeeNet needs the most help from volunteers?
Yes. I would say on the tutoring side is very important, because I believe in kids is the future for tomorrow. So yeah, and also the Mama Africa too is great, because this is more likely people to donate, because it's helping this refugee woman to get a job skills. So I think it's very important. And also on the case management side, these people need the help to get a jobs. So
Right.
somebody have to be there to facilitate that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Katherine would say the same three things.
Yeah.
Because I've had many conversations with her, and those are very, very clear priorities for the organization at this time. Well, thank you, Joseph. It's been great. You've done a great job, and really appreciate you taking the time this morning. And I look forward to working more with you. I'm out buying all the materials for camp this summer. I'm getting that done. And hopefully I'll be bringing those down to you and dropping them off in the near future.
Okay. And
Okay. Go ahead.
oh, okay. So just 1 second. So I just want to appreciate everyone who's here today, and who take the time and to hear what is Refugee Network is. And also I always appreciate people like yourself, who like people who are able to give their time away so they can be able to have somebody to transform their lives, is always important to me. And I'm always grateful, because I come to this country, I didn't have any anything, and I never have any thinking if somebody can help me through my dream. But I had people who helped me. That's the reason why I'm here. And I'm always grateful people like you to do such a work like that. So I always appreciate it. That's something that I want to share.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for all the good work that you do for your community there. And we're glad to have you here.
Yes, we are glad to have both of you here. And thank you so much, Joseph, for sharing your own story and helping us to understand what life is like for refugees coming here. You've done an amazing job this morning. I wish you the best of luck as you move into working in business and becoming an entrepreneur. And we'll see if we can get some of the information from today into the e-bulletin in case anyone wants to follow up. Again, thank you so much. We are grateful to you for being here this morning. And before we close out, I want to say, don't miss next week in the forum as we kick off a month of Pride. We will start with Lambda Archives of San Diego on July 4th.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joseph. See you soon.
Okay, thank you, Blake. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bye-bye.